Hello and welcome to another video. Today we're taking a look at one of the first decks I'm going to be covering for the new expansion, and that is a Machina Tenko deck. I've been trying to fix that pronunciation, but it's going to take some time, guys, so bear with me. This is a little bit of fun. It's based on DragooseArmy's list that he posted, I think, just before the expansion or just after. And it does have some interesting cards in it. I mean, the Flawed Saint actually tends to be your biggest win condition card, and a very easy one to play out. Tenko is great with the new repair mode card. It does a wonderful job, and getting free repair modes is very easy, so that's always a lot of fun. And mass healing with the Angel card here is absolutely nuts, so that's always a really good card to use. And Zoe is your draw engine, which surprisingly works really well. I would probably run triple Zoe, which what DragooseArmy reckoned was probably best. Unfortunately, I just don't have that as an option at the moment, as I only have two, and I'm debating on whether I want to spend the vials to create a third or put it towards other decks. Currently, I have almost two of every single legendary, excluding the Forest where I only have one, and the neutral that I've only got one of, as I didn't really think I'd need two or three of those at this point in the game. So we've got a lot of cards to work with, a lot of cards to look at, and we're going to get right into these games for this deck for now, as this was a little bit of fun and an interesting one to start off with. So remember to keep in mind that with the start of a new expansion, it does mean an unstable meta, and the first week or two of videos is going to be a little bit rough as things kind of settle in. With the massive changes to cards in Unlimited as well, we're probably bound to see a change there, although probably not as severe as we have in Rotation. I am interested to start looking at Portal more heavily, but things are getting weird with that, as of course we did lose Chronogenesis, which is the bulk lot. So this deck, typically I like to aim for the Robo Goblins as early as I can get them. Also Unicorn Knight works really nicely. Anything super early is good against Sword, and typically will help you out quite a bit. Now with Zoe, I usually play her when I can guarantee at least one single draw out of her minimum. Since her effect is based on her being on board, you do want to try and make sure you can secure that spot. So this isn't the best way to do this, but it was one of the best ways I could come up with right now. And there's the Ayla Warrior Wing. No surprise, I've actually got a sword deck that I'm going to take a look at some point soon. Probably the next day or two. I think it's actually the third video planned since the expansion launch was the sword list, so look forward to that. Sky Saber, it's actually a fairly interesting one, especially when you spend the Evo on it, considering it is a 4-drop, so it is okay. So there is Flawed Saint with her Evo. I actually don't mind trading her a lot of the time, because of course you do get the 0-cost spell to use, which when you can use it, you can really take full advantage of it. I did decide to put it onto the Gem Princess. I don't plan on using that now, but I've been trying to get the hang of how to use that card and where to play it early on, just so I can get lower cost cards that combo well, and Gem Princess seemed like the way to go because I planned on setting the Tenko play up this turn, so at least that leaves me with Unicorn and Gem for next turn. So since we've only got one Machina card in our hand, but that does of course give us at least something to use. Now we actually have multiple that will come out here, so that could be even better. And we're going to be able to kill the 1/1 and pretty much negate that damage, so it's pretty much a free trade there. Fortunately though, Tenko isn't going to be able to kill anything because of course both their health totals are too high and the opponent was blocking damage. But that's not so bad, because it looks like they are going to have to use some resources to get past this. But we're not looking very positive, as this is a pretty intense board to have to try and handle. The only real advantage we've got is the fact that we do have some cards to use. So we can go for the repair mode, which is actually an okay one to make the line of play for next turn. It does mean our healing's going to be a little slower and we need a couple of good pings, and we got all the right ones, although I think making the odds higher would have been better for us. And we have another salvation, which is great, so we must be getting close to the Aegis play. Spine Blade. We're only at 5 health. Not a lot of health left, but we should be able to start doing full clears, which will be really good. So Zoe, Robo Falcon just for some board, and we basically go all in on this hand since we are going to draw. And luckily we did get a decent ping. I was a little worried that we weren't going to get it. It was going to be rough if we didn't, because we would have straight up lost. We needed definitely that double hit ping on that. Now, it was definitely risky. It was very, very close. If they only had that extra damage, we would have definitely lost that. At least it worked out. And we were actually able to clear the 8, which is good. We don't want to take that damage. It's a little high. So they went for their own Omen, even though there was no last word still, mainly because they wanted that free Evo, I'm sure. And now they're going for mostly face, which is fine. I don't really have a lot of plays to win this. But we did get Godsworn, which at least should protect us one turn. And since we can go for double Robo Golem, which will give us extra healing, we actually have a chance to wipe the board next turn, provided we of course survive this turn. But considering the situation, that shouldn't be impossible. Either. Alright, so that looks good for us. They have to waste a fair amount of resources here. Can't quite get over us. Alright, so these Robo Golems are going to do some wonderful work, setting us up for a couple of repair mode plays and salvation plays, getting our, I guess, even cheaper, making it a very effective way to both wipe the board and play Heavenly, which is great, since we are going to wipe the board anyway. And there's no need to, of course, lower Aegis any further. We may as well just start targeting the Angel. Make it cheaper so it can combo with other cards in our deck, potentially. But our opponent ended up conceding. Obviously not able to beat over this, which isn't a big surprise. This deck does do a good job of control. For the next match, we are up against Dragon. Sword and Dragon seem to be the most common 2 matches I have faced in the expansion so far. But it's not the be-all end-all. As I mentioned, please remember these are not super optimized decks, and what we're playing against probably aren't super optimized decks, so the meta shift will probably change. Even just in a couple of days you'll see the meta evolving and changing, but it won't probably stabilize for a week or two. So usually it's between that first week and the second week before we see something a lot more stable. Probably right around the start of April-ish should be fine. So I went in early with some decent board pressure. Of course it's not really going to be enough on its own, but at least Iron Knuckle can block it out a little bit. And the idea is to keep as many things on board as I can for as long as I can to take advantage of Flawed Saint. At least in this situation. So I went in as hard as I could, without sacrificing too many followers. So even if it was a risk, I didn't want to, of course, set myself up for absolute failure. So we're going to be able to trade into this alright. And we're going to be able to use Flawed Saint. And with 2 of them, that's even better. So we're going to be able to wipe this board, get a couple of salvations, and set ourselves up well in the future. Especially with the Robo Golem. Goblin. And I decided to go for the Father Refinement so I could play him next turn with the repair mode, since we can pretty much get 3 of those now. You can definitely see how potent these salvations can be when you get them off in an order. So unfortunately we didn't get 3, but 2 is still pretty reasonable to use when there's 0 cost spells that heal. And Father of Punishment being limited to only taking 3 damage at a time definitely will help us, since repair mode can heal him up very easily. And since they did miss the 2 on that, that was really good for us. Now I really just need a good target for this. And I was trying to come up with a good way to trade. Flawed Saint with a free Evo isn't bad, considering we are going to get, of course, the Aegis out of this, since it is the 4th one we've played. And we've still got the repair mode heals, so we're definitely in a good spot. Plus another salvation, so we can actually play Aegis on turn 8 with an Evo, which is even better. Wasn't quite what I'd planned, but it's still really good line of play. So when you can't remove Aegis, it's going to definitely be a very solid control deck, getting him out early. Everyone was dreading his return. I personally was always a pretty big fan of him. He is certainly a rough card to face in the mirror match, but outside of that, it's actually not too bad. And I think we actually got to play pretty much every single new card here in some capacity in this video, which doesn't usually happen that often. I mean, Robo Falcon, I wasn't very happy with the way it looked to start with, but it's kind of grown on me with its nice artwork. Flawed Saint was something I was always interested in trying out, which is why I actually did craft all 3 of these from my vials. Zoe I was iffy on, but after playing with it in a Tenko style deck, its healing and its, of course, card draw are indispensable. You really can't do without that when you're not running many other card draws outside of Sealed Tomb and Mori, so it's nice to have that extra. The Healing Angel is, considering it's a control deck, not too bad. Getting that 10 when it's half your health back is impressive. It's a little slow in most other situations, only healing 6 for 6, but does a good job. Godsworn, quite nice, works well, especially once you drop its cost down. Similar to Father of Refinement, and of course Mecha Wing Angel, both great cards when you can reduce their cost, which does open up a lot of possible plays. So hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe for more content. Until next time, see ya.